Now, for the next few minutes, we want to consider the US presidential election. It's a little over 3 weeks to go, and currently the two candidates look to be neck and neck, with the national polls showing Kamala Harris slightly ahead of Donald Trump, but those in key battleground states suggesting that Trump is just ahead. So there's lots at stake in these final few weeks of campaigning. And so let's turn to our regular Sunday morning experts. They are Lindy Lee, who was a Democrat political strategist and fundraiser, and Republican strategist Amy Koch, who was Minnesota's first female Senate Majority Leader. Great to have you both with us. Lindy and Amy, good morning. Good evening to you, I guess.
Hi, thank you so much.
Lovely to have you there. Amy, can I start with you on this? Just to sort of identify the strategies, the tactics that are being used or not used by the candidates as we head into these final few weeks. Is it fair to say that Donald Trump has been comparatively quiet compared to Kamala Harris?
He's been comparatively quiet since really the RNC. And it's clearly a campaign tactic where they have convinced him that they can do some rallies, they can do some TV ads, and that him staying out of the press, except for doing some very sort of center-right radio or TV, is where he needs to be. And that's where he's been sitting.
Yeah. Why is that? And is it working?
Because every time he opens his mouth in an odd way, he says that people are eating cats and dogs in Ohio, so they're just letting him do his thing that he likes to do.
Yeah. So there's a concern that he's going to inflict more damage on the campaign than good.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that so much of what Trump says now is baked in. We've been, since 2015, sort of stunned and shocked by what he says. And so even at rallies now, a lot of the things he says are just the same. It's just a repeat rinse of what we've heard. And frankly, a little bit is the surprise or outrage at it has just completely worn off.
That's so interesting. So there's no shock value left in Trump, and that's where he kind of was getting his big wins previously. Lindy, can I bring you in? Because I want to consider the Democrat strategy, and actually the week just been is where we saw Barack Obama hit the campaign trail. It's fascinating to sort of see these big hitters come out to play on behalf of Kamala Harris.
Absolutely. And he made such an important point. A lot of Black men are still a little bit uneasy about voting for Kamala Harris. And Barack Obama said something that only Barack Obama could. And that is maybe some of them are uncomfortable having a woman at the top of the ticket. But no more excuses. Now is not the time for equivocations or anything. We need everyone back into the fold because nobody wants to wake up on November 6th and realize that their country is gone.
The country is gone. Amy, on that, I don't remember, so far at least, seeing any sort of big hitting Republican former president campaigning in this election. Is that fair to say?
Oh, right. No, the former Republican presidents have been quiet or somewhat behind the scenes critical. And I don't expect that you'll see them out. But, it's interesting because all of this money, all of this time, and for for Vice President Harris and for former President Trump, the polls have essentially not budged. On September 10th, in 538 average, Kamala Harris was up 2.5% on the national and generic or the national ballot, and she's up on October 10, 2.5%. Yeah. So this race is going to come down to those key battleground states. Trump's up in 5 or 6 of the 7. And right now, despite, the number of Harris at the top on the ballot, if the toss-ups go to Trump, he wins the presidency again.
Yeah. Lindy, what do you make of the polling as it stands? It is pretty tight, as Amy highlights.
Well, this is just the way that modern American politics is. I don't think it says so much about Kamala Harris as it says about how deeply polarized our country is. No matter what, it was always going to come down to this. And it's going to come down to the 7 battleground states and the three blue wall states in particular. Philadelphia, where I am right now, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. These are the 3 states that matter. And I know what the campaign is doing. We are doing targeted mailers, targeted TV ads, down to language. I have an Asian last name. I even got Chinese mailer, even though I can't read or speak Chinese. But it's just phenomenal how extremely tailored we are in these final days. And I'm going to be with the Harris team just today. It's 1:30 a.m. right now. I'm going to be with them later today. And we're going to have big donors out there even knocking on doors, because it's really going to come down to those blue areas like Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, turning people out, and also cutting into Trump's win in those deeply rural red states like red areas like Erie County up in Northwest Pennsylvania, and also Scranton, which is a white Catholic stronghold.
It's Theo here. Can I just ask, do you, when you're targeting, and this is to Lindy and then perhaps Amy, you'd like to chip in as well, when you're targeting voters, are you doing it on a street by street basis? Is it that focused?
I think
in
it's
terms
person
of
by person basis, actually. Thank you for the question. It's down to that, because every campaign, or at least every competent one, has a voter database that lists the various attributes of a particular voter. It could be background, it could be language, it could be professional affiliation. Maybe they're a member of the Rotary Club. Maybe they like to row. Maybe they like to do whatever. And it's really down to that. It's so deeply granular. And so it's just phenomenal. But you know what? We've raised $1 billion since July 21st. But I also don't want us to rest on our laurels, because Trump has so much dark money coming in. And dark money is undisclosed. You don't have to identify your donors. So there's just the fundraising advantage that Harris appears to have isn't as robust as it appears to be. And that's why we need to be, balls to the wall, completely going all out for the next 20 some days.
Amy, do you just want to come back on that dark money? Is this a particular problem for the Republicans, this money where you don't know the origin of it?
Yeah, look, both sides have that money. It's super PAC money. It came out of Citizens United, and that's just the reality. I know the Democrats like to make it think it's a Republican thing. It's not. It's both sides. Let's be honest about that. And the other thing about the targeting, I mean, this is modern campaigns, right? But I'm curious about some of the decisions that the Harris team is making because it is about the blue wall. It is about Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. It is about those sort of center-right counties. It is about folks like me, right, who have never, I've not voted for Donald Trump. I am sitting in this election just lost as to what to do here. And then yet the Harris team, she has a big interview with Vogue. And I just think that sort of is giving Hillary Clinton 2016, right? What are we doing? Is there a lot of Vogue subscribers in, Erie, Pennsylvania?
But it's not just Vogue, with all due respect, Amy. She's also on Call Daddy and also the Breakfast Club. She went on Univision.
One at a time. Go on, Lindy.
Oh, are you giving me permission to speak?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Welcome. I also just want to say, dark money isn't.
No, hang on. On the Vogue point, we're focusing on Vogue. So Amy was saying, what's with that decision?
That was erroneous.
Who reads?
She said that dark money isn't a Republican problem. It is a Republican problem. Let me tell you why. It's because John Roberts, who was appointed by Bush, John Roberts made it possible for dark money to flood American politics. This is a deeply, viscerally Republican issue.
Okay.
Citizens United was made possible by the Republican Supreme Court justices, and the Democrats would be dumb to unilaterally disarm.
Okay.
Of course we're going to raise super PAC money because the Republicans are doing it. But this is deeply corrosive for our democracy. It should have no place in a healthy constitutional republic. And that's why our country has become so polarized, because dark money has captured not only the presidency, but also the Senate and the Congress, and also local offices.
Okay. Amy, just to come back to you then. So you were making the point about the Vogue interview and perhaps that targeting the wrong people, actually, that people who read Vogue are probably not yet needing convincing. What else would you kind of point to? Do you think there's a kind of overconfidence in the Harris campaign?
I think that overconfidence can be attributed to both sides, which is a mistake, given the fact that these polls are absolutely a dead heat. 0.1% has Trump in Pennsylvania, which is nothing. It's meaningless. It is a dead heat. And so I would say for both sides, you need to put your head down, you need to drive out your base, and you need to focus on whatever is left of those in the middle. I'm sure that they're doing that in a way. I saw the Vogue cover and I thought, ugh, that is that's not where I would have had
You
my
seem to have some
campaign.
sort of fixation on this Vogue thing. She's been doing everything. She's in
To be
North
fair, it was me that
Carolina
asked. So
helping out
what else
people
has she
who-
been doing, Lindy? What else has she been
She's
doing?
been doing, we can talk about the week that she just had. She went on 60 Minutes. Trump did not. She offered to debate. He let the deadline lapse. And I just want to say that she is doing all the above. Call Her Daddy, for instance, which has such a tremendous listener base. And those are the very people who are still undecided. The people who are listening to NPR, the people watching NBC, ABC, they've already had their minds made up. It's the Call Her Daddy. It's the Breakfast Club. It's all the smoke. These listeners, these are the people who still are undecided, and she's going right to them. And I'm part of the Harris team. So let me be clear. We are not overconfident at all. We are running like we are 10 points behind. We are the underdogs in this race. Okay. We are not resting on our laurels, not one bit. And you know who's overconfident, though? The dude who's going to have a rally at Madison Square Garden. That's not Kamala Harris. That's Donald Trump.
Both, thank you very much. Thanks for the energy. 3 weeks to go until the US presidential election campaign. That is Lindy Lee, Democrat, political strategist and fundraiser, and Republican strategist Amy Koch, who was Minnesota's first female Senate Majority Leader.
Well, I was going to say they'd had their Weetabix, but of course it is the middle of the night over in the States. But yes, it feels like it's becoming a very feisty. Everything's ramped up another notch or two because, of course, we're only 3 weeks out until that election. It's fascinating that we have no idea who's going to win.
I do wonder what's left to play for as well. When we talk about these swing states, you know, it's so close in these crucial places. First of all, why isn't Harris made more of a prolonged impact, I suppose, since entering the race quite late in the grand scheme of things? And what is it that will swing these things? What will the issues be that people do finally make their minds up on?
Yes, and it's that Vogue cover seemed to like targeting the wrong group when you can't afford to make any mistakes, and that seemed to touch a nerve.